Ask Reddit, what was the most f-up thing you saw in school? A guy literally shitting on a teacher's desk. What's up? What's up? Crapped on your desk, dog. Back quotes up with that. Saw a girl stomp on another girl's jaw with her high-heeled boot for looking at her boyfriend at the next lunch table over. I heard she had to get her jaw wired. I hope she was charged with assault. That is disgusting. Isn't that closer to attempted murder? Head kicks are no joke. That would make the school look bad. Enter text you wish spoken. These two kids got into fight at my school. Somewhere during the tussle one kid lost his balance and on the way down threw the meanest uppercut ever. He connected on the other kid's bare teeth and pushed them into his gums. He fucked up his own hand really bad. Blood just everywhere, and no teachers in sight for like another 3 minutes. Yeah. This is some Mortal Kombat X-ray vision shit. A couple fucking in the dumpster behind the cafeteria. For the rest of the year, people would walk up behind the dude crinkling paper and asking if it was getting him hard *just to add a bit. 4 or 5 of my friends and I stumbled upon this event while we were coming back on campus, and one of them went to throw his trash away. It got around the school pretty damn fast. It's probably a good thing that I'm old enough that the smartphone wasn't a thing when I was in high school, because there's a good shot that one of the group would have been dumb and taken a picture that included a 17-year-old having sex. Like physically in the dumpster, or just behind it in some sort of enclosure. Saw a kid throw a pickleball paddle at a gym teacher. Knocked her unconscious, blood everywhere. He was suspended for some time, was an asshole. That's actually really bad. Was she okay? Concussion and stitches. Paddle clocked her right in the forehead. I have a vivid memory of her clutching the padding you see on gym walls as she went down. She was older, so you could tell after that she was a bit uneasy. A kid jumped over the balcony to try and beat the rush on mashed potato day. He broke both his legs. Did not get his potatoes. Took me too long to realize mashed potato day is probably just the day your cafeteria serves mashed potatoes, and not some kind of big yearly mashed potato event at your school. Oh man, I wish it would been a mashed potato event. That would have been so amazing. But alas, no, just plain old mashed potato day. It was every Friday and always a madhouse trying to get down to the cafeteria due to the way the school was set up. A kid clipped the tip of his tongue off with a pair of safety scissors after someone dared him to. One of my brother's friends cut the very tip of his nose off cause someone dared him to edit. His nose is just a little bit flat at the end as far as I know. I haven't seen him in years, but it was a stupid dare and a funny story to tell now. Middle school, I was chilling in the band room and I look out to the hall to see a kid with some sort of liquid coming out of his eye. Later I found out some kid stabbed his eye with a pencil. It was a rival football game and the stands were packed. A section of the old wood bleachers collapsed, and 20 or so students went to the hospital with numerous broken bones, concussions, and lacerations of various degrees. During the same game, I saw a guy get hit so hard in the leg that it shattered, and both bones were showing. Poor kid ended up in a wheelchair for the rest of the school year. I know it has nothing to do with your comment, but it reminded me about a classmate who had his leg broken and had to use a wheelchair. An earthquake happened. That should be a thread on its own. A kid hung himself on a playground our senior year. I hear his brother found him. This all happened a week after 2 of the brother's friends, also seniors, died when they wrapped their classic Mustang around a tree near the HS. Made for a rough senior year to say the least. When I was 8 we were making cookies in class and they gave us square cheese graters to make chocolate chips with, because they didn't trust us with knives. A fair judgment. Some kid was holding a few graters and pretended to be a robot. This girl shouted at him because he wasn't a robot and proceeded to take one of the graters and grate his hand. Lots of blood happened and then a pair of twins both fainted. The F. What happened to the person who tried to grate the kid's hand? A kid in my school year stabbed one of my friends in the back. Not verbally, I mean with an actual kitchen knife. We were 11. When I was 9, someone stabbed another kid in the back with a maths compass. Just randomly with no real motive or logic. Why do the most violent stories here involve elementary age kids? In first grade, a boy pulled his pants and underwear to below his knees and laid down on his back. Then a girl spat on him. I don't remember why, but I will never forget that sight. 2 fetishes were born on that day. To this day she still thinks that's how blowjobs work. Some girl broke up with a guy, so he smeared his shit on her locker and pissed all over it. What's with all the shit stories in this thread? I want to know too. How did so many people get comfortable handling poop? Someone had taken a massive shit. It was larger than a coffee cup in width and considerably longer. So large it was impossible to flush. People were lined up into the halls to see this monstrosity, including faculty. You know it's a small town when a turd calls that much attention. Nobody had a poof knife. And it's gone. Poof. Some dumbass kid stuck a pair of tweezers in an old outlet that didn't even have a circuit breaker, so IDK how he didn't die. I was in 9th grade. One of our classmates got drunk, stripped and streaked the lunchroom, gymnasium, basically any place crowded. The staff was afraid to tackle a naked teenager, so we all got an eyeful. There was a girl I was friends with who had developed early and had pretty big boobs and considered thick for a 5th grader. Hanged with a group of 5 or 6 girls. Most of the girls in this group were short, skinny, and the pretty ones of the class, so she stuck out from that group. During recess, these 5 girls ganged up on her and pulled down, sometimes ripping her shirt, exposing her chest, and laugh cause they thought it was funny. She'd fight it and tell them to stop, but they'd do it even more, sometimes pinning her arms to the side so they could. She ended up hanging out with me more and finding different friends in middle school. Jesus fucking Christ. This is just straight sexual assault. These were her friends and they were pinning her down and pulling her shirt down. Having a guy who killed his wife then come to the school and held my class hostage to try to force the school to give him his son so he could kill him. He was finally caught on his way to kill his parents. Edit. Another thing, kind of. My chemistry teacher, years after I graduated, worked at the school with his wife. They had adjoining classrooms. He shot and killed the vice principal after school. He was in a meeting with him and the union rep because he was accused of inappropriate contact by a female student. Went out to his car to get his gun, came back and killed the VP. I think I've heard of this story before.